the speech is personal protective equipment. Objectives of the speech, select, outline. Can't understand the objectives. Select. Okay. So today you will receive the design of personal. You should. Okay, can you introduce yourself?
Today, you will receive the beginnings of personal protective equipment, what induced its use, and the basic personal protective equipment used at that time, and contrasting it today.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, give a hand to Diana Kennedy.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I have a song for you this morning. It's a happy song, but in reality it wasn't a good song at all. Ring around a rosy, pocket full of posy, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. It sounds upbeat, even happy. I learned as a child and we had a good time singing it and going around holding hands in a circle, but researchers believe that it was a song related to the Black Death, which is the bubonic plague that hit Europe in 1347. The bubonic plague killed between a quarter and half of Europe in 3 years. It took World War II claimed 3 million lives in 3 years. In contrast, World War I claimed 3 million lives in 3 years, and World War II claimed 60 million lives. The bubonic plague did twice the damage in half the time, without even a shot fired. So what could cause such devastation? Something very, very small. Something the size of the head of a pig. A flea. And we have fleas today. And you recognize them because they hop on you because you have a dog or a cat, or go to a neighbor's house who has a dog or a cat, or some type of mammal, or even chickens, because they like chickens as well, and bats. But this flea was a certain type of flea. It was an oriental rat flea. And it was very, very different from the cat fleas that we have here in the United States. Rat fleas are a little less developed. They're a smaller flea. They don't have combs. A cat flea has combs on its head, like this. And it has like a little mustache, little combs on its face. And that helps it to stay on its host. Whereas the oriental rat flea didn't have that. It was a smaller flea, very compact flea. Its nose wasn't as elongated and as pronounced as the rat flea. But nonetheless, it caused devastation. It traveled from the Black Sea, Kaffa. It came on the ships, the trading ships, and it arrived in, I believe, Italy in 1347, and then it covered the continent in 3 years, 3 short years. And the crazy thing about the flea, about the Black Plague with Black Death, is nobody knew what the cause was. Because of the times, fleas, infestations of rodents, infestations of bugs, it was just commonplace. Everybody had it. Everybody. So it was actually an invisible cause. And nobody knew who would get it. It would kill one person in a house and nobody else. Or it could kill the whole household. So when you got the Black Death, or you were bitten by a flea, who ingested, actually what they do is the flea bite you. It has 3 siphonets, and it bites you. And in this case, instead of sucking in, the female flea would vomit. Because the bacteria, which we now know, block the gut and cause a regurgitation reaction. It would regurgitate this product or these bacteria into your system. You would get it, and when symptoms would occur, which are big black pustules on your lymph nodes, you would die in 5 days. Pretty much. When you've got those symptoms, you're going to be dead. There have been a few cases of people who have survived. It was, so the Black Death after 1347 began to crop up over the next 500 years, killing people. Crop up here and then crop up there. They developed what are called plague doctors. And the plague doctor had a certain outfit he would use to go around and visit. It wasn't until the 1800s when the Black Death hit India did they figure out what happened. Gentleman went over there, doctor went over there to help fight the plague. They didn't want him to help. So he broke into the morgue where the plague victims were held and cut out the buboes, the big black buboes, and he dissected them and looked at the contents in a microscope and discovered it was a bacterium, Yersinia pestis. Then Dr. Yersini's apprentice discovered that it was transported by rats. He was working with patients, and he noticed they had bites all over their arms and all over their legs. And then he later proved that it was transmitted from rat to rat by the fleas. Was Black Death's wrath of God or the sign of the times? Well, your heart started to really trade. So perhaps it was a sign of the times. But there have been instances of the bubonic plague through the ages. Specifically, in the mid-500s, there was the plague of Justinian. So what happened between that time and the time the Black Death occurred? What happened to all those doctors who had experience? People see a disease and they try to treat it, and eventually they get something after all that time. Well, that was about 100 years before, or 1,000 years before, the Pope decided that anybody who practiced modern medicine was a witch, and they had the witchcraft trials. They killed most of the midwives, and anybody who practiced medicine, they killed most of them. So you had that ancient knowledge just get wiped away. Gone. And then what happened? Well, you think, the spread of rats, that people should trap them. And, they didn't really pay much attention to them. And then the church, unfortunately, did another unfortunate accident or mistake. They decided that cats were spawns of Satan and did not need to be around anymore. So in the cities, they killed those cats. They got rid of them. So in the cities, they had no cats. They had a large population of rats, and then they had no knowledge of this type of disease. So it spread quickly, except they noticed that the countryside was fairly immune to it. So the countryside, they just didn't have a lot of rat problems. They didn't know it was the rat that was transported. They didn't know it was a flea. But they noticed that the countryside was fairly immune. So the nobles would pick up all their stuff and then go to the country and escape the plague. The plague, of course, would decimate the cities. The rat, or actually the Oriental rat flea, likes to dine on a variety of hosts. And it thrives very well on Norway rats, cotton rats, roof rats, and the house mouse. So at that time, what house did not have a few of those running around? plague changed a lot. It changed a lot of how bodies were handled. Before, they were just kind of thrown out. At that time, they started to put them in boxes and then take them out. They developed better sanitation, and the doctors developed personal protective equipment. One doctor in particular Charles D. Lamore developed what we now know as the plague doctor outfit. Where did my pencils go? Which is that beak-looking mask. Then they had a hat. Because at that time they still didn't know what caused the plague. All they could determine is that there was some sort of bad air, contagion. It was considered a polluted air that came from rotting things, rotting vegetation, rotting dead bodies. And this is what they decided it was. And then they had a big long robe that they wore. And then they wore a boot with long pants, longs and socks, and a shirt underneath. And the beak was filled with spices, hay, and different types of extracts from trees. They had ambergris, which is wild duck from sperm whales, and it's used in perfumes. So they would put that in there. Lemon balm, which is the herb. Mint, camphor, which is a resin from trees and is used for embalming. Cloves and an opium type of product, leaf that they stuck in there. Myrrh, rose petals, and a resin, another resin that's like turpentine they would stick in there. And it would help filter out the bad air. Then what they would use, on top of this, is they would use a cane so that they could touch the patients. And often, well, the plague was considered the wrath of God. When you were sick, it was punishment from God for your sins. And people would often ask for the cleansing by being caned. So you're sitting there and they beat for your sins. So he would have a cane, he wouldn't have to touch you, and then he could beat you from a distance, a safe distance. Did it work for the patients? No, not really. Did it keep the doctor safe? Sure. He was at a good distance. This garment was covered in wax. So if a flea would jump, there would have nowhere, it could embed itself into the garment, and it can't get through the garment into the person, because what a flea can do is a flea can burrow into your clothes, even pantyhose. They can burrow in, and they can just burrow and dig right in. That's how come if a customer has fleas, they don't have dogs, they don't have cats, they've never had dog or cats, and they have fleas, they went to somebody's house, the fleas jumped on them, they burrowed in the pantyhose, they come home. So this is our plague doctor. So what is this, when you think about today's standards, the things have changed, but how we apply these same principles still remain the same. Now we have respirators who use carbon filters, and then we have PPE, personal protective equipment, that's used from impenetrable fibers, and we have gloves. We don't use canes anymore. Thankfully. We also have boots. We have rubber boots, and you have to wear socks. And this is the PPE we use today to protect ourselves from residue and exposure to pesticides to keep us safe. If it was important for a plague doctor to go to this extent of not to get the plague, something they didn't know how to get, that it is important do you as applicators to protect yourself from pesticide poisoning, and you use your PPE. Madam Toastmaster.
Okay, now please write your kudos to Diana Kennedy. I'll give you 1 minute.